Arsenal have a second bid rejected by West Ham for Declan Rice, around about £90 million. The bid breaks down as £75 million paid over 4 years, plus 15 million of add-ons, which, if they were achieved, paid over 5 years. Is that the normal structure for a transfer of this nature, do you think?
There isn't a normal structure.
Is there not?
No, it's a deal you can do. The deal you can do is a deal that you do, and ultimately you have to factor into consideration what makes a deal happen. Sometimes a deal happens at lesser value because you pay all up front. Sometimes you pay on instalments and somebody discounts the money and pulls it forward. There's a cost implication behind that. Sometimes the structure of the add-ons make no sense. They're all too weighted on outcomes that may not be achievable. At the moment in time, what you've got is Arsenal sitting in an auction room going, I'll bid, that's not big enough, I'll bid again. That's not how it works. When you're doing a deal and you've got some competitive tension in the room and you believe that other people are going to bid against you, then you react to the circumstances. If Arsenal want to steal a march, they rock straight through the door and go, I'll give you 100 million quid, done, on the nail, we've done the deal. But you've also got to recognise who you're dealing with. And I've dealt with Sullivan. And what if Sullivan tells me it's 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll check my watch. So with that in mind, I think you've got to price in who you're dealing with. I think you also got to price in the fact that there's a perception that this is a commodity that other people will want to have. There'll be other people utilising the fact that there's stalking horses sitting in the background. So I don't think whatever Arsenal do at this moment in time is going to be a done deal.
So can I sorry, just stop you side. So if they went in. Is it rare in football that, so say Arsenal's valuation is, the max we're going to go to is 100. If they went to West Ham and went, or to you, whoever, and went, there's the 100, let's get the deal done. Do they not do that because, is that rare because they know that the other end would go, no, because we know that's your first offer?
But it depends on the individual. If you've got Jack Grealish on a release clause from Aston Villa, you meet the release clause and the player wants to come to you, then off you go.
But what about the personalities of the chairman involved? So did you have some you dealt with who you knew a straight honest conversation would just get it done and there's no game playing? Or was it always a game?
But it's always you've got an asset, and it doesn't mean game playing, trying to extract the maximum value. But it does mean that you're going to be in a situation where the moment you create, and there are very few Declan Rices around. I'm not in your camp, right, that he is the all-singing, all-dancing midfield player, and other people aren't, and I don't think he's worth 100 million quid, but he's worth 100 million quid if someone's prepared to pay that for him. And if you're Arsenal at this moment in time, if you're first out of the gate and you're establishing your position, do you believe, with the nature of a deal that is perceived to be a variety of clubs will be interested?
Well, this is the question.
You're not going to be able to. You're not going to, unless you do precisely what West Ham do. If you say to David Sullivan, "What exactly do you want? Tell me exactly what you want, and if we meet that expectation, will you now subsequently do that deal?" And that, I promise you, will be like nailing a jelly to the wall.
Because the question, I suppose, is the Manchester City interest real, or is it a ruse to drive up the price? Because
of course,
Calvin Phillips said to me a month ago that on the final day of the season he was not leaving, and reiterated his desire to stay there on Monday night when he was speaking about it. Rodri's now done. Rice is not going to go anywhere and be second choice.
What you're thinking is a make-weight player coming into the deal to make a solution happen to West Ham.
No, he's talking about...
Well, there's not enough room in the Manchester City midfield for him to play.
If Bernardo Silva, who hasn't decided apparently, and Gundogan are gone, there's plenty of room because those two are the ones who've played alongside Rodri. So Rice could play in that position and get more forward and be an 8 because that's what he'll be.
Okay, so we would end up having to play a slightly different position and go and play for Manchester.
Yes.
But what I was saying, to be fair, was that there's a make-weight opportunity in this deal as well, because what Calvin Phillips says and what Pep Guardiola tells him might be two different things, right? So if he says, I want to stay at Man City, and Pep Guardiola goes, that's very commendable, son, but you ain't playing. Right, then his attitude will have to change. And if there's a situation where West Ham are prepared to let, or Arsenal or someone is prepared to let them go in exchange for something in return, then you've got a deal that's made up of a sum of all its parts. So suddenly you're doing a £75 million deal with cash, and then you're taking Calvin Phillips the other way and making it happen that perspective. So there's a variety of ways this deal can be done, because West Ham are going to have a need. They're going to need to replace this player. And Calvin Phillips might be the make-weight. He may not be. It might be unfair to put him into the equation.
But as of now, City aren't in. So Arsenal actually don't have to rush in.
Well, this
because
is the point.
They'll get to
They're
a
bidding
point,
against themselves in an
auction.
auction.
Get to a point where
Declan
has a decision to make. And that means, has he got the courage to kick up, to get out?
So do you think there might be a circumstance where he has to turn around and say, I want out of here, and I have to dig my heels in and be a little bit awkward?
You have to be Craig Bellamy, Joey Barton. Yeah, you have to look after yourself. I only had it once in my career, and you have to be able to follow through.
What does that look like?
It means that you make it perfectly clear that if you keep me here, I won't be playing. And even though you don't really believe it long term, you have to do it and make them believe it.
What if your player did that?
Well, it depends on the player.
Depends who it is.
Depends on the player.
Well, put it this way, Bellamy at Man City was that strong and had the courage of his convictions and caused that much problems in training every day. They paid his wages while he went to Cardiff on loans because he went home, played for Cardiff. He was on $100,000 a week.
Yeah,
I mean, professional thing to do.
Doesn't matter.
Declan Rice isn't going to park his career up, right? And Sullivan isn't going to do that. So there's going to be a deal done. And the challenge you've got is if everyone plays silly buggers with you and starts to do a deal that makes no sense to West Ham because they know that the player is prepared to agitate. I'm not sure how motivated he is to agitate.
He's not that type of lad.
Sullivan's taken control of the situation and suggested that the player wants to go, and he's turned down £10 million of wages and he's out the door, and we're just going to have to work a deal out. And then the question is, and I'm not, people aren't stupid, Sam. The media spin things up, but people inside the game aren't stupid. You know, they will understand if Man City. And the rumour mill can be as busy as it wants, but when it comes down to doing business, not imagination, when it comes down to doing real business, you'll understand if Manchester City or someone like Man City are in the offing for either doing a better deal than you or creating a better outcome.
It didn't look like it to me.
My understanding is they've not committed. Man City.
So therefore, it is an open playing field for Arsenal.
They've not committed
at this moment in
to
time.
being in.
What about Bayern Munich?
Not heard that.
If that's the case, why on earth are they encouraged to put in more money? They just
they're structuring at the moment. They've been in and around this. They've been in and around this level for some time. And if you're offering it based upon a certain level of achievements, so you're pricing that into the extra revenue you're going to get from those achievements. We don't know what those achievements are.
Do you think it will get done?
Do I think Declan Rice will be sold
to Arsenal?
Don't know. It depends who else comes in. And what I'd like for it to be the case is that no one else comes in and that a market value is established rather than some ridiculous Dutch auction that overprices the player, overhypes the situation.
But City have shown that they don't get involved in that.
No,
they're not interested in Manchester City, I think, in being used as a stalking horse.
I'll tell you what the big question mark for Deck is. If City do come in late, because Bernardo Silva and Gundogan have decided that's it, which it seems like they have, because they'd have signed by now, is the choice for him to leave London, which is where his family is, where he's grown up, because it's a no-brainer from a footballer.
It might be easier for him if his best mate's playing at Manchester United.
Well, I don't think they think about that anymore. You'd soon disappear with your mates, honestly.
In terms of settling into a new city, I'm sure it will help a little bit. It's what's
best for you. But if you had a choice between City and Arsenal, although Arsenal are on a great trajectory, and come on.
Who would you choose?
You go City all day, wouldn't you?
Well, it depends. Depends if you're going to be wheeled out to Arsenal's new captain and you're going to be given a side that's going to be built around you and you're going to be head cook and bottle washer. Depends what you're sold.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.